Hey, how's everybody doing? I pray everybody's doing well. Listen, today I want to deal with Auburn coach Bruce Pearl criticism of Barack Obama. Normally, I don't do videos dealing with coaches or athletes, but I feel the need to respond to Pearl's criticism. So the first thing we're going to do is we normally do, we're going to go in prayer. Again, Father, I thank you for this platform, and I pray, Father, that the information that is discussed today would be both informational and beneficial. Again, Lord, I thank you for this platform. This I pray in Jesus' name. If you have not heard by now, Bruce Pearl, for whatever reason, criticized our former President Barack Obama, but yet has not said anything about the antics of Donald J. Trump. I want you to listen to this video and then I will respond.
It's so frustrating when I hear what a terrible country we are, how racist we are, how this is.
What Bruce does not understand, for many of us, this country is racist and it is bad. But obviously he's looking at it through a different lens. And it frustrates me that people don't be open-minded. They just have a narrow view because of their situation. They don't have to deal with many of the problems of minorities, so they don't see it as a problem for them.
It's not the land of opportunity for everybody. Look, we've got a lot to work on, and there's racism that absolutely does exist, and it's wrong. But it's a lot better for my players than it was for their fathers.
Okay, Bruce, we know that. Now, don't get me wrong, Bruce, there have been progress, but there are still problems of racism in this country. Even the election of Barack Obama has not eliminated racism. We still do not live in a post-racial society, Bruce. And you would think coaching African-American players, you would have a clue about that, but obviously you don't.
Or for their fathers' fathers, or their fathers' fathers. And so I want my guys to recognize there are going to be obstacles, but not roadblocks.
Not roadblocks? Come on, Bruce, have you studied history? Bruce, have you paid close attention to what is going on today? Bruce, we still have people that are first today. My sister, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman on the Supreme Court. Kamala Harris is the first woman, specifically black woman, to be on the ticket and became vice president. Bruce, obviously you have not looked at history. There are still firsts going on. Even in the coaching ranks, Bruce, there are only a small percentage of black coaches, men, Division I. Bruce, we have only had a handful of United States senators in the history of this country, but there are no roadblocks. We have only had one black president, but still, Bruce, there are no roadblocks. Bruce, we only have a handful of black CEOs, but there are no roadblocks. Come on, Bruce. If you're going to make some ignorant statements, please do a little research, just a little bit.
And that's what Barack Obama did. However, as our president, other than just love listening to him talk because he's such a great orator, I disagree with so many of his policies. I thought in so many ways, rather than uniting us as a country, even if by race, he divided us.
Come on, Bruce, based on what? Barack Obama's election alone divided the country. There are many in this country, we have to be honest, in the dominant culture, did not vote for Obama, nor did they want him to be president. And obviously, Bruce, you have not done any research about Obama's policy. Bruce, if you paid just a little bit of attention, you would know that Obama did not introduce specific legislation exclusively for African Americans. But he divided us? Come on, Bruce. Even though his policy benefited African Americans, but he had not introduced one piece of legislation that specifically benefited African Americans. But you talking about division, but you say nothing about Donald J. Trump, whose right-wing rhetoric is nothing but divisive? Come on, Bruce. Now, Bruce, I know you are a Trumpican and part of the MAGA crowd, but at least do a little bit reading. do a little research before you make these blanketed statements.
Everything was black and white. Everything was the obstacles that were against, my players from being successful. I'm trying to teach my guys, look, I don't want you working at Subway. I want you owning 5 of them.
We would all like for them to own Subways, Bruce, but we have to be honest. All of your players are not going to make it to the NBA. I hope that all of them at least take advantage and get that college education. But we all know why you brought them in there. You brought them in there with the hopes of winning a championship, making money for the University of Auburn. And let's be honest, Bruce, some of them are going to have to get regular jobs. They're going to be professional in other occupation other than sports. And I hope, Bruce, that you talk to them and let them know to have a backup plan. But let's be clear, Bruce, a lot of them are not going to be owning Subways. Some, unfortunately, due to bad decisions and mistakes, might actually be working at Subway. Because if you do the history of many athletes that have made it to the NBA, even the NFL, they had to go out and get a job similar to Subway. Come on, Bruce.
And that's possible. I think in many ways, Barack Obama told a different story. So it's hard to criticize.
Barack Obama, Bruce, did not tell a different story. Barack Obama focused on broad economic and social reforms that address systemic inequality, which benefited many minority groups. He did. But it was never specifically targeted to African Americans. His goal was to create programs with broad reach, such as the Affordable Care Act, or as many call it, Obamacare, which aimed to expand health coverage to all Americans. Did you get that, Bruce? All Americans. What's divisive about that? Bruce, obviously you have not paid attention to Barack Obama. If you would turn off Fox News and do just a little bit of research and try to find a socially conscious, woke author, well, you can get the truth. And maybe you don't know, Bruce, Barack Obama specifically said he is not the president of Black America, yet 90% or more voted for Barack Obama. 90% African American voted for him. And maybe, Bruce, you don't know that Barack Obama criticized Black men who were graduating at Morehouse during his speech, trying to tell them that they don't need to make no excuses about racism. But yet you criticize him. Barack Obama, if you have paid any attention, Bruce, has bent over backwards not to give any illusion that he was partial toward African Americans. He never had an agenda. In fact, even today, he's not in office, and he still is weary about speaking about race. And my problem with you, Bruce, is why are you worried about Barack Obama? He has not been in office since 2016. But yet Donald Trump, with his anti-Black rhetoric, is going on another term, and you say absolutely nothing. Come on, Bruce.
Criticize him, though, because you get a lot of feedback that's really, really negative.
Come on, Bruce. Now, Bruce, you are in no position to talk about anybody. We know about you broke the NCAA rules at Tennessee, and you also broke them at Auburn, but yet you want to criticize Barack Obama? Now, I must admit, I voted for Barack Obama, but Barack Obama didn't even use his bully pulpit to really deal with issues of racism in this country. He backpedaled. You remember the beer summit? The beer summit. After his friends, Brother Skip Gates was arrested by a white police officer at his own home. Now, if you are honest, Bruce, we all know that had that been an older white male who had a disability trying to get in his house, that officer would have actually helped him get into his house rather than question him and arrest him. But listen, Bruce, I want you also to hear, family, my brother, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. Because obviously, Bruce has not done any research. And I must admit, it bothers me when people get on the platform and make ignorant, blanketed statements without having done any research. But Bruce, I know you have access to a computer. I know you do. And I wish, Bruce, that you would simply do a Google search. And Bruce, there are tons of videos out there. Tons of them. But you didn't do any research.
Let me pick up the pace
Family, I want you to hear a little bit of my brother, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, talking about the presidency of Barack Obama. And if you have not, please check out this book about Barack Obama. And I have to give credit to my brother, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. I thought the book was excellent. He was fair and impartial. He voted for Barack Obama. But he also, in this book, tried to hold him accountable because he did not want to deal with issues of race, Bruce. I would strongly recommend, Bruce, that you read the book.
I'm going to make y'all move a little faster now because we got some time. We've got about an hour and 5 minutes before we get to the questions from the audience. But I want to just start throwing some other stuff at you that's occurred to me in the first hour of this conversation, in the first couple hours of this conversation. Dyson, you first. What about the notion that Barack Obama is the...
Now, this is my brother. He was on one of Tavis Smiley's round talk discussion. If you did not see them, they were excellent because they deal with issues in our community. And they had a all-star panel to try to come up with solutions that could help our community.
First black president. He doesn't have to be. We don't want it to be the last. And there's only so far down the field he can push the ball. Maybe our expectations of him as the first are unreasonable.
Well, Tavis, that's ludicrous, as Mike Tyson might say. And because everybody, I was the first, so I wanted to be calm and reasonable in articulating my viewpoint. But I'm fired up right now. All right, and I'm going to just take half a minute more because I want to say this. First of all, he is the first black president, but we got to remember that. Jackie Robinson was the first. Jackie Robinson wasn't the best ball player. He was the best ball player suited to exist under the conditions that white folk would impose upon him. So I'm not suggesting that Mr. Obama is not a brilliant man. I knew him earlier than most people in this building, since 91. I was with Obama when most people who were black were with Hillary Clinton, when they were calling him Barack Obama. I knew who he was. I loved him. So I take second seat to no one. I love him. I love him walking down Air Force One. I love how he walks down.
Bruce, I want you to pay close attention. My brother is being objective. And like I said, he supported Barack Obama. But he's being objective in his criticism. He's getting ready to go in.
Down and hollers at people. I love how he looks at black folk. I love how he looks at white folk. I love how he gives that Negro intimacy that is communicated telepathically. I love all of the symbolic gestures that are articulated from Obama. But at the end of the day, he's Jackie Robinson. I'm waiting for Willie Mays to come behind him because Willie's got a hell of a thing. Number two, how you gonna say you just the president of black folk?
Did you get that, Bruce? Barack Obama said he's just the president of black folk, but yet 90-something% of black people voted for him. And of course, we have some expectation. And of course, we know, Bruce, he's not going to be able to do everything for African Americans. But at least can we get some crumbs? Can you at least discuss some of the issues and try to push legislation that will benefit black folk?
No, Sherlock. We didn't know that. Of course we knew that. I'm the very person who said he got to holler at white folk and wink at us. So don't tell me that I didn't understand that you had to engage in code switching, which is the predicate for acceptance in the larger circle of white supremacist logic, so that you could then get in with a black voice. But don't get up in there and become who you said you were against to begin with. Your point is that, and I'm not talking about black versus white, I'm talking about right versus wrong. So my point is, you are the president of everybody, which includes me. I am from America too. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. That's in America. New Jersey ain't got to be New York to be part of America. I ain't got to be white to be part of America. Latinos asking them for something and they got something. Gay and lesbian said, don't ask, don't tell, changed it. Jewish brothers and sisters said, deal with Israel, deal with it. All of those are specific entities. Why is it when it comes to Negroes? Why is it when it comes to black folk? All of a sudden we are persona non grata.
Bruce, did you get that? He did something from other groups, but did nothing specifically for black folk. Considering black folks supported him with their money, many volunteered to help get out the vote, and of course they voted for him. But yet he bent over backwards to let many in the dominant culture that he is not looking out for the best interests of black folk. Now, I must admit, Bruce, I became critical after that first term because I knew he had to play the game. It's a game. You got to play the game. If you want to be in the game, you got to play the game. You got to know the rules. But after that second term, me along with other African Americans, we had some expectations of Barack Obama, and he dropped the ball.
Tell you, Mr. Obama, to deal with the black agenda is what every president before you had to do. How you gonna be any different? Abraham Lincoln had to deal with race. George Washington had to deal with race. LBJ had to deal with race. How come you the first president that ain't got to deal with race? It wasn't a black president who passed the Civil Rights Bill. It wasn't a black president who passed the Voting Rights Act. It wasn't a black president who passed the Fair Housing Act. It wasn't a black president who dealt with fair housing. It wasn't a black president who dealt with affirmative action. You gonna be like every other president, deal with race.
And you talking about Barack Obama being divisive. Come on, Bruce. And family, I strongly suggest that you also do your own research. And don't get me wrong. If I had to do over again, I would vote for Barack Obama again, considering who he was going up against. But by no stretch of the imagination was Barack Obama divisive. He did everything he can to get the approval of everyone, even those on the right who did not like him. And let us not forget, Mitch McConnell made it known that he was going to do all he could to make Barack Obama a one-term president. But you don't criticize the right. You don't criticize Donald J. with his right-wing rhetoric. And obviously, Bruce, you have not paid attention. Donald J. is a fascist, he's a racist, he's a bigot, he's a demagogue. But yet you support him. And of course, you criticize my sister Kamala Harris, who was far more qualified than Donald J. And that's because of your bigotry. Let me give you something else, family. Legislation passed under Obama, Affordable Care Act, of course we know, the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform, Consumer Protection Act, and Don't Ask, Don't Tell Repeal Act. What in there specifically was targeted toward black people? But yet Bruce believes he is divisive. And let me say this before I get off of here. Bruce, you have made millions of dollars coaching on the backs of black players. And obviously, you haven't said anything about Donald Trump eliminating DEI, trying to erase, whitewash our history, the elimination of affirmative action. Anything that benefited black folks, Donald Trump is going after. And didn't even want to show Barack Obama's photograph in the White House, which is a tradition for current presidents to do that. And I guess you forgot about what happened in Central Park with those brothers who were accused of raping the white woman. And Donald Trump took out an ad pushing for their execution. And when the evidence came back that they were innocent, he didn't even make apologize. But you don't say nothing about that, Bruce. Come on, Bruce. And listen, let me say this to every black parent who has a son who has the ability to play Division I basketball. I hope that you listen to this speech before you consider allowing your son to go play for Bruce Pearl. All you got to do is listen to it. Please make an intelligent decision. Because in my humble opinion, Bruce is complicit to whatever Donald J. does. And I don't think it's a good idea for your son to be playing for him. There's a lot of Division I schools out here that your son can play for. But we have to be intelligent. We have to use wisdom, direction, and do some research on the school, specifically the coach. So when a coach comes out with this right-wing rhetoric, family, we should not even consider allowing our sons to go play for someone like that. And let me say this. Many in the black community expressed disappointment that Obama did not more aggressively pursue policies specifically targeting racial and economic disparities. But Bruce, you say he's causing division. Bruce, this country has always been divided along racial lines, going all the way back to 1619. Nothing has changed. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been some improvements, but we still have a lot of work to do. But listen, family, I just want to get on here for a few minutes. If you have not watched the full video, please watch it. Because it's obvious that Bruce's rhetoric is bigoted and racist. Listen, let me go ahead and end in prayer. Father, again, thank you for this platform. And I pray, Lord, whatever discussed is beneficial and informative. And I pray, God, that individuals, they do their own research before coming to a conclusion. Again, Lord, I thank you for this platform. This I pray in Jesus' name. So in the meantime, family, stay up and stay informed. God bless you.